Good evening, everyone. Today I have a very special guest. I feel more than honored. I am actually happy he reached out to me. Networking is fascinating. I know he's Gabriel Scheidt's colleague. I am talking about Laurence McKell, educator, board director at Queen Ethelburga's School. I'm not sure if I am pronouncing it properly. One of the largest international schools in the UK. So we're going international. Hello, Laurence. What a pleasure. Thank you. Tell us something about your school, about this school. A school different from the ones we have here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I read something about the school, and I know that your philosophy that you want students to be the best they can be with the gifts they have. I think this is very, very inspiring. I think that every school should be after that. This is like the aim for the children of the future, for the new normal, for this era. So, I'm attending a neuro language coaching course, and I strongly believe that coaching is a fantastic tool. So, tell us something more about the school. And our schools here in Argentina were closed last year. Classrooms were closed. We had no face-to-face interactions. We were forced to go online, which is good. Well, not as a mom. I'm not saying this as a mother. Homeschooling was hard, but I think we needed a change. And the new ways are emerging, so that is great. E-learning is the future, and I do not see an end. But I also believe, as Gabriel said, we need a new model, new species. Children need these face-to-face interactions too. So my questions are, has your school had only virtual interactions? Do you think virtuality will replace face-to-face interactions? Were you used to working in the online environment? How did your school reopen this year? And are people adapting to a new reality? How are you getting prepared for this 2021 school year? Thanks in advance. Bye-bye.
Gabriella, thank you so much for a wonderful welcome and introduction. I almost didn't recognize myself there when you were talking. But I'm delighted to try and answer your questions as briefly and succinctly as possible, given the time constraints of audio recordings. So, firstly, Queen Ethelburga's. It is a remarkable school, and like all school websites, only gives a flavour of what the reality of the place actually is. I've been fortunate to have been involved with Queen Ethelburga's for about 6 years now, and it has really been a joy and a privilege to serve on their board and to try and be of some use to the team of educators and the community there. The current situation with the global pandemic has really brought out the best in the community at Queen Ethelburga's, and you wouldn't be surprised to hear me say that. I'm sure it's brought out the best in lots of schools, and in terms of having to adapt to schools being physically closed or locked down and children not being able to access the usual method of education, it's been a transformational experience, as I'm sure it has been in Argentina. So has the education that the Queen Ethelburger students been only virtual? I would say no, it hasn't, because the virtual e-learning platforms that they developed almost overnight and in such a short space of time have really tried to emphasize the importance of community and the importance of learning together and not just on a digital platform. Because Queen Ethelburgers is a boarding school, as I record this, there are currently over 300 pupils on site, on campus, under, if you like, quarantine or lockdown conditions, and staff on top of that, because the school year runs in a slightly different pattern in the United Kingdom. A number of overseas and international students had arrived back in the middle of the Christmas holiday period, or in fact hadn't left the country because of concerns about COVID, and are very much on site and on campus. So they and the staff are adapting to not just living together as a community safely within a COVID restriction time space, but also trying to learn and keep learning and developing the reason that the children and staff are there in the first place. So it's been, as you say in your interview with Gabriel, it's been a new reality, and the focus really from a director's perspective and from a staff perspective has been on what we call quality first teaching, and the staff continuing professional development, which has catapulted many of the staff into using technology in a far more demonstrable and effective way than perhaps they were before. And I'm sure that's certainly the case in Argentina. And really it's trying to focus on the new opportunities that has given staff and pupils to try and develop their learning, and flipped learning, not just covering a specific amount of content, but setting up creative challenges has very much been the instinctive model that many teachers have focused on. It's not been without its challenges, and as I speak to you today, I'm sure some of the challenges that I'm about to describe to you, not just in Queen Ethelburgers but in education in the UK, will ring true. So the issues are a concern amongst staff and parents that children are being left behind and need to catch up compared to whether they'd been in school all the way along. A second concern is about public examinations now being cancelled for the second academic year in a row and replaced in some way, shape and form by teacher assessment. A third dimension which leads on from both of those is actually whether this will give us a new educational climate change and paradigm, which many people feel is overdue and much needed. In a skills-based dimension, a fourth issue is really to do with teaching and coaching skills that are relevant to today and today's climate, and not just focused on knowledge content and rigorous assessment-driven courses. Alongside those has been a concern about digital detox and also the inequalities that have been shown in children and students having or not having digital access through Wi-Fi, broadband, fibre, or even laptops. And universities and college entrance has been an interesting perspective too, because, as I'm sure you're aware, in the UK system, university places are awarded after the terminal exam, public exam grades are awarded over the summer period in July and August. Last year that could not happen, and instead of conditional offers being made, unconditional offers were then made on the basis of teacher assessments. So from a university standpoint, from a college standpoint, there is a debate to be had about admissions being post-exam driven or indeed based on pupil profiling instead of terminal exams. On a personal note, I can make a comparison between what my son, who is in the senior years of high school, and one of my daughters, who's at the beginning of university, have experienced during their lockdown thing. And even although they are only 2 years apart in terms of age, their experience of online learning has been light years apart, I would say. And as schools and as educators, we need to address that, because in some ways the high school students have been better catered for, I believe, than some of the university students. On a pastoral dimension, mental health and well-being of students, but also of staff, have been a major issue that have come out of this whole process, and rightly so, because the online learning and teaching is hard work. It's a different form of preparation. It's a different form of experience when you're logged on to Teams or Zoom or Google Meet, whatever the platform is, and especially for students with learning difficulties, whether they're perceived or real, it's been a major challenge. I've spoken perhaps for long enough in this little audio recording. Gabriella, thank you so much for reaching out. I could speak so much more about what your interviews have provoked, and that making comparisons between the two different countries. But in essence, I'd like to finish by saying, even although we are separated, we are not isolated. Even although we are apart, we are very much together in trying to do the best that we can for the students that we have in our care. I'll leave it there, Gabriella, and I look forward to speaking and hearing from you soon. Take care. Bye-bye now.